of the tzibur, and that is to express and to experience our love and awe, ava and yira, of Amor D'Asra and Rebbetzin. So the question is, how do we go about doing that? How does one learn how to properly express love and awe for their Rebbe? And here it's easy, because all we need to do is watch the love and awe that our Rav has for the three spiritual giants that we're talking about this morning. If I may backtrack just for a brief moment, the love that our Rav had for the Lubavitcher Rebbe Zatzal was evident. You couldn't quoting, running, it exuded. The yira, you could also see, you had to look a little more closely at times. I was told by Amor D'Asra's children that even when there were divrei Torah in the Allgemeine Journal that the Lubavitcher Rebbe Zatzal used to publish, would put in, Rabbi Siff was not able to throw out the Allgemeine Journal. He used to have to cut out the divrei Torah and put them aside, and that's yira. It's covered Torah, but it's yira. There is, for the Rav Zatzal, also, the love was evident. You can see that when Rabbi Siff gives over a piece of Torah from the Rav, it's not just an intellectual experience, it's an emotional experience. He's not just giving from the mind, he's giving from the heart. The yira also manifests itself. As we all know, I know it's a secret, I shouldn't really say this, but we all know the real role of a Rav is to get a good kula every now and then. And when Rabbi Siff, vis-a-vis his Rebbe, vis-a-vis Rav Soloveitchik, at times we would be lucky to get sometimes an out, sometimes a kula. But it was only if Rabbi Siff heard it directly from the voice of the Rav himself. There was a yira that he did not want to ascribe specifically a heter or kula, as you would. He would not want to ascribe anything like that to Rav Soloveitchik Zatzal that he did not hear himself. And as we move on to the third stage now, on the Lower East Side, we very much saw and continue to see the love and respect, the ava and the yira that our Rav had and has for Rav Moshe Zatzal. If any of you, I'm sure most of the people in this room, has gone to Rabbi Siff for a shaila. I doubt, I'm sure from time to time, but for the most time, it's always there's an Igros Moshe present. It's either physically present, or it's quoted, or it's in the back of the mind, but it doesn't, halachically, Rabbi Siff does not move without an Igros Moshe in the room. I mean, we were laughing, he used to make fun when we would have the privilege of a simcha, of naming a baby girl in the shul. We would use the Igros Moshe as the siddur, as for the text. Now it's all published, but in those days before it was all Rav Moshe's text on the naming a baby girl was a bit unique. We would use the Igros Moshe as our text. It would be the madrach for the gabbai. The awe as well. It's in vogue also. There are many halacha sfarim, anthologies, as you wish, that are published on pretty much nowadays on every possible topic that there is. And perhaps our rabbi will not be all that comfortable with me sharing this, but I remember hearing from him more than once that it bothered him that you would have a halachic text, and in the same paragraph, it would quote, Rav Moshe said this, and someone else said this. And he would say to me, how could you put both of those in the same paragraph? Once Rav Moshe said something, that was it. There really is nothing else to be discussed. To put it in the same paragraph that this one is equal to this one, there's no such thing. Amor D'Asra has shared on numerous occasions that his whole, I don't know if the word shimush is appropriate, but perhaps his shimush as a Rav was really under the loving guidance of Rav Moshe Zatzal. How to act as a Masada Kedushin, how to sell chametz. I think the rabbis are surprised that I actually listen when he tells me things over the years. to act as a Rav and to do things in a practical manner, what the appropriate approach is, how one goes about performing and doing, much of that shimush, much of that learning was under the tutelage with the Ahava and Yira of Rav Moshe Zatzal. We in this neighborhood are very, very fortunate that we have the sons of Rav Moshe Zatzal, the Rosh Yeshiva, carrying on his Torah, his chesed, and his essence. I can attest that our Rav is very thrilled and very honored that Rav Reuven Shlita has agreed to give a shiur here today in the honor of our Morad Asra and his Rebbetzin, Rav Reuven Feinstein.